Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
The pursuit of a better version of yourself must become a relentless obsession that overrides your desire for comfort. Most people are addicted to the cheap thrills of digital noise and the empty praise of the crowd, which keeps them stuck in one place. You must shift your internal reward system so that you get your greatest pleasure from the proof of your own growth. This is not a casual hobby or a part-time interest, but a total commitment to sharpening your character and expanding your skills. When you view every day as a chance to improve, you begin to operate on a level that the average person cannot even imagine. Your potential is a sleeping giant that will only wake up when you put it under the heat of consistent challenge and hard work. You must develop a hunger for the difficult tasks that make others hesitate and run back to their safe routines. By leaning into the resistance, you are training your mind to find a sense of power in the face of pressure. Every time you push past your limits, you are rewriting the story of what you are capable of doing in this short life. This process of constant elevation is the only path to a life of true freedom, where you dictate your own terms and your own future. The mind is a machine that will naturally choose the easy path unless you give it a mission that is more important than comfort. You must feed your intellect with deep knowledge and hard skills to ensure you stay valuable in any environment you enter. Stagnation is a slow death that rots your ambition and turns your greatest dreams into bitter memories of what could have been. By dedicating yourself to the mastery of new things, you ensure that your mind remains a sharp tool for your ultimate rise. This growth gives you the clarity to see opportunities where others only see problems and confusion in the world around them. Discipline is the highest form of self-love because it puts the needs of your future self above the feelings of the moment. You must build a fortress of habits that protect your time and your energy from the trivial concerns of the uninspired. When you honor your word to yourself, you are building a level of internal trust that serves as the foundation for all success. This unshakable confidence allows you to walk through the world with a sense of authority that cannot be faked or bought. You are no longer at the mercy of your moods, because you have tied your feelings to the cold logic of your goals. The results you see in your life are direct reflections of the standards you have allowed yourself to settle for in the past. To change your reality, you must first change the requirements you place on your own behavior and your daily performance. You cannot expect to reach the top of your field if you are still acting like a common worker with average habits. Elevating your standards requires a ruthless look at your life to remove anything that does not help you grow. This high-level accountability is the price of admission to the ranks of the elite who define the direction of history through their work. Time is the only resource that you can never get back, and you are currently spending it at a rate that should create urgency. Every hour you spend on low-value activities is an hour you are stealing from the legacy you were meant to leave behind. You must become a guardian of your minutes and treat your focus as a sacred flame that must never be allowed to die. This awareness of your mortality is not a reason for fear, but a catalyst for intense and focused action. When you realize that the clock is hunting you down, you stop making excuses and start making moves that actually matter. The social circle you keep acts as a ceiling on your growth and your ability to see beyond your current world. If you are the most driven person in the room, you are in the wrong room, and you must find an environment that tests you. You need to surround yourself with people who demand excellence from themselves and who will not tolerate your mediocrity or your excuses. This shift in your social life will force you to adapt and evolve at a pace that is impossible when you are surrounded by the comfortable. You are a product of your influences, so you must choose them with the cold precision of a master. Mastery is a journey that never ends because the moment you stop improving is the moment you begin to lose your edge. You must learn to fall in love with the boredom of the grind and the repetitive nature of the basics that lead to greatness. The plateau is where the pretenders are filtered out of the race, and only the truly dedicated remain to win the final rewards. By staying consistent when the excitement fades, you are proving that your ambition is not just a temporary phase. This endurance is what separates the legends from the thousands of people who started with dreams but lacked the heart. Your internal dialogue must be tuned to a frequency of absolute power and unrelenting belief in your own capacity to win. You are the commander of your own mind, and you must refuse to allow any thoughts of weakness to take root in your head. This mental hygiene is critical because the stories you tell yourself eventually become the reality you inhabit in the physical world. When you speak to yourself with authority and clarity, you are building a psychological momentum that is almost impossible to stop. You are becoming a person of substance who is defined by their resolve rather than by their old mistakes. Choosing to place yourself under an immense amount of pressure is the fastest way to wake up the powers that have been sleeping inside your soul. Most people avoid tension because they fear the possibility of breaking under the weight of a difficult and demanding mission. You must realize that the absence of struggle is actually the presence of decay and the slow loss of your competitive edge. When you willingly step into a challenge that requires everything you have, you are forcing your mind to find new levels of grit. This voluntary hardship is the only place where an exceptional character can be forged into something that is permanent and rare. The weight of a significant responsibility acts like a gravity that keeps your focus grounded on the few things that truly move the needle. Without the presence of a high-stakes challenge, your energy tends to scatter into 1,000 different directions that yield no real results. Pressure serves as a filter that removes the trivial thoughts and the shallow distractions that normally consume the minutes of the uninspired. You must welcome the feeling of being pushed to your limits, because it is a sign that you are finally operating in a territory worthy of your talent. This intense state is where you discover what you are actually made of. A life without pressure is a life that remains soft and predictable and entirely devoid of any real sense of pride. You must understand that the most valuable things on this planet are created through the application of intense heat and crushing weight. If you want to become a person of high value, you cannot shy away from the very forces that are meant to refine your raw potential. By choosing your own battles, you are taking control of the transformation process and ensuring that you are being shaped by your own goals. This intentional struggle is what separates the masters of their own destiny from the casualties of fate. The anxiety that often comes with a major challenge is actually a form of unused energy that can be turned into a focused drive. You must learn to see the physical sensations of stress as the high-octane fuel that will power your climb to the top of your field. When your heart is racing and your mind is sharp, you are in the best state to perform far beyond your normal capacity. Instead of running away from the heat, you should step deeper into the fire and allow it to burn away your old hesitation. This mastery of your internal response to pressure is the ultimate superpower in a world full of people. There is a deep sense of peace that comes from being fully committed to a difficult path that you have picked for yourself. When you are in the middle of a massive struggle, you no longer have the luxury of thinking about minor problems or social drama. Your entire existence becomes a streamlined machine dedicated to the completion of a mission that gives your life a lasting meaning. This clarity of purpose is a rare gift that most people will never experience because they are too afraid to try anything that might fail. By choosing the hard road, you are granting yourself the privilege of living with real intensity. The version of you that emerges from a period of extreme pressure will be unrecognizable to the version that first entered the arena with doubt. You will find that your tolerance for difficulty has increased, and your ability to solve complex problems has become a natural part of your nature. This evolution is the hidden reward of the struggle, and it is more valuable than any money or status you might gain. You are building a level of self-reliance that makes you immune to the opinions of the crowd or the changes in the world. This internal fortress is the only thing that can provide true security. Most people spend their energy trying to find a way to make life easier, while you must spend your energy making yourself harder. The search for a life of ease is a trap that leads to boredom and a feeling of being totally disconnected from your power. You were built to overcome obstacles and to solve problems that others find impossible to even look at with any real courage. By choosing to take on an immense challenge, you are honoring the drive within you to conquer and to expand your territory. This is the only way to ensure that your time is a masterpiece of action. The pressure you feel is the direct result of having a vision that is much larger than the current reality you are living in today. You should be worried if you do not feel the weight of your goals, because it means your dreams are not big enough. The discomfort is the friction caused by the movement between who you are now and the person you are becoming through your work. You must embrace this tension as a necessary part of growth and refuse to let it slow down your momentum. Every small victory you win under pressure is a deposit into the bank of your own unshakable confidence. When you choose a challenge that is bigger than yourself, you are forced to leave behind the ego and the small habits of the past. You must become a person who is capable of handling the weight, and this change requires you to shed everything that makes you slow. The pressure acts as a purifying force that leaves behind only the essential parts of your character and your unique skills. This process of stripping away the excess is painful, but it is the only way to reach a state of effective simplicity. You are becoming a weapon of precision designed to hit the target. The obsession with the clock is a deceptive trap that keeps you chained to a situation you claim to hate. You spend all your energy calculating the distance to the finish line instead of focusing on your daily growth. If your life is currently out of alignment with your vision, you have no reason to fear the time needed for a change. The years will pass regardless of whether you are building a monument or watching the days slip away in a fog of quiet misery. You must realize that the investment of a decade is a small price to pay for a lifetime of true freedom. When you argue that a goal will take too long to achieve, you are admitting that you value comfort more than your potential. This mindset is a slow poison that convinces you to stay in a hollow environment because the exit requires a sustained effort. You must confront the reality that you would have likely wasted those same years on trivial pursuits and hollow distractions anyway. By committing to a long and difficult path, you are giving your time a purpose and a direction that it currently lacks. The length of the journey does not matter when the destination is the only thing that can save you. Meaningful work is the only valid use of the limited time you have been granted on this planet before the light goes out. If you are not satisfied with where you are standing today, you should be sprinting toward a project that challenges your spirit. There is no better use of your hours than the focused pursuit of mastery and the construction of a legacy that reflects your drive. The alternative is to spend your life in a state of reaction where you are merely responding to a world that does not care. You must reclaim your time by dedicating it to a mission that justifies the struggle and the nights. The fear of a long journey is a sign that you are still thinking like an amateur who needs a quick reward to stay focused. A master understands that the process of building something great is the reward itself, and the final achievement is just a natural result. You must learn to fall in love with the steady movement of the needle and the pride that comes from doing a hard job well. Whether it takes a single year or an entire decade, the time will be spent by the universe 1 second at a time. You might as well spend it becoming a version of yourself that commands respect. Most people are so worried about the future that they never actually start the work that would secure a better reality for themselves. They stay paralyzed by the idea of a long commitment, while the years they were afraid to spend vanish into the void of the average. You must break this cycle of hesitation by realizing that today is the only day you have to make a choice for your legacy. If your situation is currently painful, then the only logical response is to start moving in a different direction with a cold intensity. The duration of the climb is irrelevant once you refuse to stay. Consider the person you will become after a decade of relentless effort toward a goal that truly sets your spirit on fire every morning. Even if you do not reach the exact peak you imagined, you will be so far beyond your current self that it was worth it. This transformation of your character is the real goal, and the physical results are just the secondary evidence of your internal resolve. You are building a mind that is capable of handling pressure and a body that is disciplined enough to execute. This internal development stays with you forever, while the time you saved by being lazy disappears. The world does not care how long it takes for you to find your footing and build the life you were meant to lead. It will continue to turn, and people will continue to rise and fall while you sit in your room and worry about time. You must develop a sense of urgency that is focused on starting today rather than finishing tomorrow at a specific and arbitrary date. When you are engaged in work that is meaningful, the concept of time begins to fade, and you find a productive flow. This is the only way to live a life that is not defined by the ticking clock. Every excuse you make about the time required for change is a direct insult to the potential that is currently rotting inside of you. You are essentially telling yourself that your dreams are not worth a few years of focused labor and a steady commitment to excellence. This lack of self-respect is what keeps you stuck in a cycle of minor wins and major disappointments that lead to nowhere. You must raise your standards and decide that you are willing to spend as long as it takes to get what you want. This level of dedication is the only thing that can protect you. If you choose to do nothing because the goal is too far away, you are guaranteeing that you will be stuck 10 years from now. The only difference will be that you are older and more bitter about the opportunities that you allowed to slip through your fingers. You must be bold enough to start the long project today so that your future self can look back with gratitude instead of loss. The years are going to pass by whether you are a master of your craft or a victim of your excuses. You might as well choose the path of sovereignty and impact. The question of your true desire is not measured by the words you speak in public, but by the sacrifices you make in the absolute silence of your own solitude. Most people claim they want a life of freedom, while they continue to prioritize the comfort of their old habits and the safety of their small routines. You must look into the mirror and ask if you are willing to endure the long nights and the social isolation that come with the pursuit of a legendary legacy. If your commitment shifts with your mood, then you do not actually want it, and you are simply playing a game with your future. Real ambition requires a hunger that is so intense it makes the idea of quitting feel like a betrayal. True resolve is found in the moments when the initial excitement has vanished, and all that remains is the cold reality of the work that must be done. You will face days when your energy is low and the world seems to be conspiring against every move you make toward your highest goals. This is the exact point where the winners are separated from the talkers who only thrive when the conditions are perfect and the sun is shining. You must develop a mindset that thrives on the friction and the resistance that others use as an excuse to slow down or stop. Your success is a debt that must be paid in full every single morning through focused action. The path to mastery is paved with the wreckage of 1,000 versions of yourself that you had to kill in order to grow into your potential. You cannot reach for a better reality while you are still clutching the security blankets of your past mistakes and your old beliefs about what is possible. Every step forward requires you to shed a layer of your identity that is no longer serving the grand vision you have for your existence. This process of destruction is painful, and it is the primary reason why most individuals stay exactly where they are for their entire lives. You must be brave enough to walk through the fire of transformation until only the essential parts remain. Consider the reality that the world owes you nothing, and that no one is coming to save you from the consequences of your own hesitation. You are the sole commander of your destiny, and the only person who can decide if your life will be a masterpiece or a tragedy of missed opportunities. When you stop looking for external validation, you gain a level of psychological freedom that allows you to move with a speed that others find terrifying. This self-reliance is the ultimate weapon in a competitive landscape where most people are waiting for permission that will never arrive. You must take what is yours by virtue of your own labor and the relentless application of your specific talents. Your focus is a sacred currency, and you are currently wasting it on trivial distractions that provide zero return on the investment of your precious time. You must learn to guard your attention with a ferocity that borders on the divine, because what you focus on is exactly what you will become. If you fill your mind with the noise of the crowd, you will produce a life that is as shallow as the content you consume. By narrowing your vision to a single point of excellence, you are creating a laser that can cut through any obstacle in your path. This level of concentration is the secret of the elite, who understand that greatness is the result of intensity. The fear of failure is a hollow ghost that only has power over those who have not yet decided that their goal is worth any amount of embarrassment. You must embrace the risk of looking like a fool in the eyes of the mediocre while you are learning the skills required for your eventual rise. Every mistake is a piece of valuable data that teaches you how to refine your strategy and sharpen your aim for the next attempt. When you remove the option of quitting from your mind, the concept of failure ceases to exist and is replaced by the reality of iteration. You are training yourself to be a person who views every setback as a necessary stepping stone. Maturity is the discovery that your life is a direct reflection of the standards you have chosen to accept for your physical and mental well-being. If you are not satisfied with your current status, you must raise the floor of what you consider to be acceptable behavior for a person of ambition. You cannot expect to win at a high level if you are still making compromises with your discipline and your integrity when no one is watching. Every choice you make is either a vote for the person you want to become or a vote for the person you are leaving behind. You must be ruthless with yourself until excellence becomes the only way you know how to operate. The anxiety you feel about your future is a message from your soul telling you that you are currently capable of achieving much more than you are doing. Instead of trying to numb this feeling with cheap stimulation, you should use it as a catalyst for a deeper level of commitment to your work. This tension is the internal friction caused by the gap between your current reality and the legendary life you know you could be living. You must bridge this gap through the daily application of hard work and the relentless pursuit of mastery in your chosen field. The discomfort will only vanish when you are finally moving at the speed of your potential and acting with certainty. There is no better place to be than in the middle of a struggle that requires you to use every ounce of your intelligence and your courage. This state of intense pressure is where you find the true limits of your character and where you develop the grit needed for a life of authority. You were not built for a life of ease and comfort, but for the conquest of challenges that make the average person tremble with doubt. By choosing to stay in the heat, you are proving that you are worthy of the rewards that only come to those who refuse to quit. This endurance is the hallmark of a leader who understands the prize.